Docura is AI built to understand your documents. It runs locally so nothing leaves your machine. Workspaces keep clients' information completely isolated. Here's how I'd use it as a lawyer. This workspace is set up for client A. It contains files, legislation, precedents, and drafting templates. The files include PDFs, Word documents, spreadsheets, CSVs, and text-based images. I've indexed the workspace, so everything is now searchable by the AI. Let's start with a question. First, we'll simply ask it to summarize the client's case. Based on the documents provided, it appears that the client, Daniel Smith, is claiming damages against Coastal Shire Council due to their allegedly negligent pre-lodgement advice regarding a development application for his property. The key points of his case include: the council's officer made representations that the proposed development would not present compliance issues. Mr. Smith relied on these representations and purchased the property based on them. The actual development application was subsequently refused by the council, citing reasons including excessive height and failure to satisfy coastal character objectives. Mr. Smith is claiming damages for architectural redesign fees, holding costs, and legal costs incurred as a result of the council's alleged negligence. It appears that Mr. Smith's case hinges on establishing that the council owed him a duty of care in providing pre-lodgement advice, and that he reasonably relied on those representations to his detriment. Let's dig in a little deeper. What are the council's stated reasons for refusal? The council's stated reasons for refusal include excessive height, failure to meet coastal character objectives, visual impacts, and non-compliance with regulations. Let's ask about the regulations. The Coastal Planning and Development Act applies to the client's case in several ways. Height control. Section 15 states that a development application must include assessment of visual impact, where height exceeds 90% of max permitted height. In this case, the proposal marginally exceeded height controls. Coastal character objectives. The Act requires that development proposals must satisfy coastal character objectives. Council's refusal letter states the proposal fails to satisfy these objectives. Visual impact assessment. Section 88 of the Act requires that a development application must include assessment of visual impact. The consent authority may require additional landscaping. These provisions are relevant to the client's case as they relate to the reasons cited by the council. The section explicitly states that pre-lodgement advice does not bind the consent authority, it does not constitute development consent, and it must not be relied upon as a guarantee of approval. This means that while the council's officer made representations about the proposed development, those representations were non-binding and did not create approval. Next, let's bring this all together in a letter to the council. Dear Council Representative, as you're aware, the council recently refused our client's development application. However, before pursuing further action, we wish to extend a gesture of goodwill and compromise in the spirit of settlement. In consideration of your efforts to date, we're willing to withdraw our appeal against refusal if lodged, and forgo any damages claim related to pre-lodgement, provided you agree to reconsider the application. Specifically, we propose the council reviews its decision-making process in relation to the DA application, with a review to re-examining the proposal on its merits. In light of our client's revised designs and mitigation measures, the council considers granting consent for the development, subject to such conditions as it deems necessary. The parties agreed to enter binding heads of agreement. In consideration of these concessions, we propose that our client accepts a reduction in the proposed building height by 0.6 meters and incorporates additional landscaping measures to mitigate visual impact. This without prejudice offer is made on the condition it will not be relied upon as admission of liability or fault by either party. This is an example of a legal workspace in Docura. I can interrogate files, test both sides of an argument, apply legislation, and draft from the material, all locally in an isolated workspace. To learn more or start a free trial, visit docuraai.com.